angles, especially during cornering. Adjusting the roll bar can change how the car behaves mid-corner. A softer setting can be more forgiving, but a stiffer one might give the driver a quicker response, albeit with less margin for error.
There are just over 1,430 minutes left in this practice session. Watch as Richard Rossier takes it nice and easy on this outlap. It's not just about warming up the tires, it's about getting into that mental pit lane, tuning into the race mindset.
For sure, Rob, they're calibrating everything a Euro. The brakes, the steering, the throttle response. It's a crucial part of laying down the groundwork for a successful practice session.
Sunoiler is rolling out for the first sniff of the track. It's all about feeling the car, the tarmac, and getting the mind in the zone.
Absolutely, Rob. The out lap is like the opening chapter of a book a Euro, sets the tone for the whole story. They'll be checking how the car's responding, getting a real feel for the conditions today at Nordschleife Endurance.
Wolfs is on the outlap, not just warming up the tires but also warming up their instincts, getting that racer's intuition dialed in.
True that. They're getting the feel of the track, the car, the conditions. It's all about setting the stage for what's to come.
Richard Rossier is on the outlap, getting a taste of the tarmac. It's like sniffing the cork before a good wine. First impressions matter.
Exactly. They're assessing the grip, the balance, the whole shebang. You can learn a lot in these quiet moments before the throttle really opens up.
Look at Joe Ergu taking it nice and easy, a smart move. Like a chess player contemplating the opening move, they're planning several steps ahead.
Spot on. They're mentally mapping each corner, each straight. It's not just about the car, it's about strategy and foresight.
There's Eric, Wolves, gently nudging the beast as they head out. The outlap is where you whisper to the car, "Let's dance," before the real party starts.
You got that right. It's a gentle waltz before the full-on rock concert of the race. They're testing the waters, getting a feel for every bend and straight of Nordschleife Endurance.
Off goes Joe Ergu, easing into the rhythm of Nordschleife Endurance. This lap is like the first sip of your morning coffee, waking up the senses, priming the engines.
Yeah, it's about syncing up with the machine, getting that perfect harmony between driver and car. It's like a prelude to a symphony that's about to unfold on the track.
Let's talk rubber. Tire pressures ain't just about pumping them up and hitting the road. It's like a fine art.
Couldn't have said it better. Tire pressures can dramatically impact the contact patch, the actual bit of tire touching the tarmac. Too high and you lose temperature and grip, too low, and you risk overheating, uneven wear, even a blowout. Each tire will have its own sweet spot where they grip best.
Slow and steady on the outlap. This lap is like the calm before the storm, a moment of zen before pushing the limits.
That's right. It's about understanding the track's personality today a Euro. Each day, each lap can tell a different story, especially at a track like Nordschleife, Endurance.
And there smells like we, easing out onto Nordschleife, Endurance. It's like the first step on a long hike, finding your footing before you hit full stride.
Right, and every racer knows this out lap is precious. It's their first handshake with the track today, feeling out its mood and temperament.
Richard Rossier is rolling out for the first sniff of the track. It's all about feeling the car, the tarmac, and getting the mind in the zone.
Absolutely, Rob. The out lap is like the opening chapter of a book a Euro, sets the tone for the whole story. They'll be checking how the car's responding, getting a real feel for the conditions today at Nordschleife, Endurance.
Megasaurus 55's on the outlap, getting a taste of the tarmac. It's like sniffing the cork before a good wine. First impressions matter.
Exactly. They're assessing the grip, the balance, the whole shebang. You can learn a lot in these quiet moments before the throttle really opens up.
Look at Eric. Wolf's taking it nice and easy, a smart move. Like a chess player contemplating the opening move, they're planning several steps ahead.
Spot on. They're mentally mapping each corner, each straight. It's not just about the car, it's about strategy and foresight.
There goes Megasaurus 55, on their first dance with Nordschleife, Endurance. Every bend, every straight is a chance to learn, to adapt.
Yeah, and it's about syncing with the car too. Making sure everything's in harmony. It's like tuning an instrument before a big concert.
Watch as Sunnoiler takes it nice and easy on this outlap. It's not just about warming up the tires, it's about getting into that mental pit lane, tuning into the race mindset.
For sure, Rob. They're calibrating everything a Euro. The brakes, the steering, the throttle response. It's a crucial part of laying down the groundwork for a successful practice session.
You ever think about what's ticking inside a driver's noggin during these laps?
All the time. It's a mix of analyzing, strategizing, and adapting. Every corner, Every straight is a puzzle, and they're trying to solve it at full speed.
You know, mate, some folks wonder why these drivers spend so much time in practice. But it's just like prepping a barbie, you gotta get it right before the big show.
Exactly, Rob, practice makes perfect, and in racing, perfect can be the difference between pole position and the back of the grid.
Sunoiler is out there, taking it slow and steady on the outlap. This lap is like the calm before the storm, a moment of zen before pushing the limits.
That's right, it's about understanding the track's personality today a Euro. Each day, each lap can tell a different story, especially at a track like Nordschleife, Endurance.
And off goes Smells Like We, easing into the rhythm of Nordschleife, Endurance. This lap is like the first sip of your morning coffee, waking up the senses, priming the engines.
Yeah, it's about syncing up with the machine, getting that perfect harmony between driver and car. It's like a prelude to a symphony that's about to unfold on the track.
And there's Sunoiler, easing out onto Nordschleife, Endurance. It's like the first step on a long hike, finding your footing before you hit full stride.
Right, and every racer knows this out lap is precious. It's their first handshake with the track today, feeling out its mood and temperament.
Is rolling out for the first sniff of the track. It's all about feeling the car, the tarmac, and getting the mind in the zone.
Absolutely, Rob. The out lap is like the opening chapter of the book A Euro, sets the tone for the whole story. They'll be checking how the car's responding, getting a real feel for the conditions today at Nordschleife, Endurance.
There's Sunoiler, gently nudging the beast as they head out. The outlap is where you whisper to the car, "Let's dance," before the real party starts.
You got that right. It's a gentle waltz before the full-on rock concert of the race. They're testing the waters, getting a feel for every bend and straight of Nordschleife, Endurance.
Look, it smells like we taking it nice and easy, a smart move. Like a chess player contemplating the opening move, they're planning several steps ahead.
Spot on. They're mentally mapping each corner, each straight. It's not just about the car, it's about strategy and foresight.
Watch as Richard Rossier takes it nice and easy on this outlap. It's not just about warming up the tires, it's about getting into that mental pit lane, tuning into the race mindset.
For sure, Rob, they're calibrating everything a Euro. The brakes, the steering, the throttle response. It's a crucial part of laying down the groundwork for a successful practice session.
The anticipation is high as the drivers line up for the qualifying session at Nordschleife, Endurance.
The pressure is on to set the fastest lap times, and the tension in the air is palpable.
Richard Rossier is on their outlap. Impressive work from Richard Rossier, who has claimed second on the grid. Now, the focus is on maintaining their composure and pushing for an even better starting position. Smells Like Weed, currently in position 3. They've shown great skill and consistency so far, but with a few minutes left, there's still time to improve their result.
Great analysis, Rob. Smells Like Weed has shown excellent pace to secure third. Now, the focus shifts to whether they can use their track position to their advantage in the race.
Currently in second, Richard Rossier has displayed promising speed during the qualifying session. The real test lies in whether they can convert this performance into a higher grid position.
Couldn't agree more, Rob. Richard Rossier has positioned themselves impressively in second. Now, they need to build on this foundation and strive for an even better race result.
A dominant display by Sun Euler in this qualifying session. They have put in a stunning lap time and find themselves at the top of the leaderboard. The other drivers will have their work cut out to match their speed and claim that pole position.
I couldn't agree more, Rob. Sun Euler is displaying an exceptional level of skill and confidence. They are in a class of their own and have taken control of this qualification session.
A solid performance from Richard Rossier as they currently hold position 2. However, with the session coming to a close, they'll need to find that extra bit of speed if they want to move up the grid.
Absolutely, Rob. Richard Rossier has shown great potential to secure second. It's now a matter of channeling that momentum into a strong performance during the race.
A solid qualifying performance by Joe O'Dew, positioning them in 5th at the moment. The question now is whether they can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners.
You're absolutely right, Rob. Your view's current position of 5th reflects their strong qualifying performance. Now, they'll need to strategize and capitalize on this starting position.
What a fantastic showing from Sun Euler in qualifying. They currently hold the top spot and are in prime position for a strong starting position. Their lap times have been exceptional and they have showcased their talent and determination.
You're spot on, Rob. Sun Euler is showcasing exceptional skill and consistency in this qualifying session. It's a formidable position they hold, and their rivals will need to step up their game to challenge them.
There are just over 15 minutes left in this qualification session. What a performance from Smells Like Weed. They currently occupy 3rd on the grid. Can they maintain this strong position and secure a favourable starting spot? Incredible drive by Eddie G so far, earning him 4th on the grid. However, the competition is fierce. Will they be able to find that extra edge to move up?
Spot on analysis, Rob. Eddie G has positioned themselves well in 4th. It's now crucial for them to maintain their focus and defend their position in the upcoming race.
Megasaurus 55 has secured a respectable 6th in the qualifying session. Can they capitalize on this position and use it as a launching pad for a stronger race performance?
You're spot on, Rob. Megasaurus 55's current position of 6th is a testament to their skills and determination. Now, they face the challenge of maintaining their position against hungry rivals.
It's an impressive showing by Joe Yu, currently in 7th. They've showcased their talent, but will they be able to find those crucial extra tenths of a second to climb higher?
I completely agree, Rob. Your Yu has positioned themselves impressively in 7th. However, it's crucial for them to keep pushing to potentially improve their starting position.
Eddie G has positioned themselves well in 4th during qualifying. The challenge now is to assess their competitors and strategize how to move up the order for a better race start.
Great analysis, Rob. Eddie G has shown excellent pace to secure 4th. Now, the focus shifts to whether they can use their track position to their advantage in the race.
And there goes Joe Yu, currently in position 7. They've shown great skill and consistency so far, but with a few minutes left, there's still time to improve their result.
You hit the nail on the head, Rob. Your Yu's current position of 7th is a testament to their skill and determination. Now, they must stay sharp to make the most of this opportunity.
Currently in 5th, Megasaurus 55 has displayed promising speed during the qualifying session. The real test lies in whether they can convert this performance into a higher grid position.
Absolutely, Rob. Megasaurus 55 has shown great potential to secure 5th. It's now a matter of channeling that momentum into a strong performance during the race.
There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Sunoiler has completed their outlap. Impressive work from Richard Rossier, who has claimed 5th on the grid. Now, the focus is on maintaining their composure and pushing for an even better starting position. Rossier has completed their outlap. A solid performance from Megasaurus 55 as they currently hold position 2. However, with the session coming to a close, they'll need to find that extra bit of speed if they want to move up the grid.
Couldn't agree more, Rob.
Megasaurus 55 has completed their outlap. What a performance from Eddie G. They currently occupy second on the grid. Can they maintain this strong position and secure a favourable starting spot? Eddie G has completed their outlap. It's a very still day here at Nordschleife, Endurance, as we're getting ready to kick things off. Megasaurus 55 will be looking to convert their pole position into a win. Eddie G is holding down the fort in second place.
And they are looking to start the race on the medium's tire compound.
Taking the third spot is Eric Wolfs,
putting that Radical State Route 3 into prime position for the race.
Our fourth place starter, Richard Rossier, is poised to make a move towards the front.
I'm sure Richard Rossier will be expecting to bring home solid points from here.
Smells Like We is placed in fifth. On the sixth grid slot we have Joerg Yu.
It's the medium's tires for Jorg Yu.
Our seventh place starter, Sunoiler, is a driver who knows how to make up ground on the track. Green flag, mates. Fair dinkum.
Concentration is crucial as they navigate through the pack and try to establish a strong position. The best drivers know how to find their rhythm quickly.
The racing is normally closely fought here at Nordschleife, Endurance. I think we are in for a cracking race.
I am so excited at the prospects for this race. I can't wait to see the drama unfold.
Someone get Eric Wolfs a strong coffee, as it looks like they have been caught dozing from the get-go. The team won't be pleased with that start, relinquishing places already. Talk about a rough beginning. Eric Wolfs must feel like they've got the world's heaviest anchor attached to their car, dropping positions at the start.
Back in the Tar Heel state, we called it a bless your heart moment. Eric Wolfs has slipped from 3 down to 7 faster than molasses in summer.
Well, ain't that a slice of vanilla? Sunoiler's sitting pretty right where they started. Comfy as a koala in a eucalyptus tree. As the drivers get this race underway, let me give a shout out to the admin team at Assetto Corsa Friends for making this all possible. Heroes one and all.
A good old-fashioned southern standoff, that's what Jorg Yu's doing. Holding their ground, and sometimes that's the best strategy in the early laps.
Well, I'll be a monkey's Uncle Hal, but Joerg Yu's plans have gone walkabout right now. They're having a proper Barry Crocker keeping up with Richard Rossier. Big gains for Joerg Yu as they move up the field, leaving Richard Rossier behind.
Talk about turbocharged ambition. Jorg Yu's got the afterburners on full blast today.
Hollywood couldn't script this better. Eric Wolfs is shadowing Richard Rossier, waiting for the slightest misstep. You reckon Smells Like We saw a spider in the cockpit? Plus they're running away from the front like it's Huntsman Central. Mate, Eric Wolfs is right up Richard Rossier's chuff. As they zip through Hoheischen, we're all expecting some fireworks. A great moment for Eric Wolfs, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings. gap between Eric Wolfs and Richard Rossier may be wide, but that doesn't mean Eric Wolfs is safe. They have to keep their concentration and avoid any lapses in performance.
You're spot on, and Richard Rossier knows that they can't rely on Eric Wolfs making an error. They have to keep driving with skill and determination, and be ready to seize any opportunity that comes their way.
Richard Rossier is running 7th. They are trying to catch Eric Wolfs.
The gap between them is just over 0.7 seconds. Who will have the speed and skill to come out on top?
Oi, Richard Rossier, ever tried tailgating at a barbie? Cos Eric Wolfs' grill is getting a good look now. Try the snags while you're at it. A commanding performance from Eric Wolfs, who has increased their lead over Richard Rossier, putting them firmly in their rearview mirrors. But could they be pushing too hard? As with that comes the risk of overconfidence and losing control. Who will be the first to get too cocky and end up in the wall?
That's a really strong performance from Eric Wolfs. They're not giving Richard Rossier any chances to catch up.
These engines aren't just humming for fun. They're thirstier than an Aussie after a game of cricket in the sun.
Cricket? That's like baseball with longer games, right? Anyway, these engines do have a roar that could rival any muscle car back home.
Wow, Sunoiler is really pushing hard to catch up to Smells Like Weed. There's blood in the water for 3rd place. Oh, this is getting intense. Eric Wolfs is just a few car lengths behind Joe Ergue.
Looks like Eric Wolfs has got more moves than a cowboy in a honky-tonk bar. You better watch out or he'll be 2-step right off the track.
It's a thrilling pursuit as Sunoiler is right behind Smells Like Weed, keeping the pressure on for 3rd place. Look, it's not always the fireworks on track that win the race. Sunoiler is playing it cool, holding their cards close.
And that's what separates the pros from the rookies. Sunoiler knows when to push and when to play it safe. It's a dance, and they've got the rhythm.
A great pass for Sunoiler as they pick off other drivers and move up the field. Meanwhile, Smells Like We has lost ground.
Absolutely, Rob, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and Sunoiler can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep driving with intensity and focus.
The gap between Sunoiler and Smells Like We is not insurmountable, but it's going to take a mistake from Sunoiler to bring Smells Like We into play. This is getting exciting. Can Richard Rossier pull off a late charge and gain a position? This is where legends are made. Which driver will rise to the occasion and claim victory?
If Richard Rossier pushes too hard, they might find themselves exploring the scenic route, and nobody's got time for sightseeing during a race.
It's a tale of 2 drivers right now, with Richard Rossier gaining places and Joe Ergue losing them. It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Richard Rossier trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Eric Wolfs. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Richard Rossier close in enough to mount a challenge? If Smells Like We goes any slower, they'll join me in my failed dreams collection. Front row seats available. Mate, Smells Like We's creeping up on Sunoiler like a dingo on a picnic. Must have tweaked the brake bias a touch to the rear.
Now, ain't that something? Smells Like We is right on it. Just needs to keep the pedal to the metal to tailgate Sunoiler.
You ever ponder how these drivers manage the heat, especially in the tight cockpit? It's hotter than a ruse pouch in midday sun.
Eh? Ruse what? I mean, yeah, it's gotta be like driving in Arizona with the heater, right?
This is a thrilling moment in the race, with Richard Rossier in 5th defending their position with everything they've got. But Eric Wolfs is relentless, and the gap is less than 0.1 seconds. It's anyone's position at this point.
Yeah, Eric Wolfs is likely going to be sniffing up the inside of Richard Rossier as they come into Plant Garden 1.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Smells Like We, who is currently in P4. But Sunoiler is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Smells Like We.
It's going to be tough for Smells Like We, as Sunoiler seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Smells Like We pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
Struth, Eric, Wolf's chances are looking thinner than a roux on a diet. Only way forward might be a bit of razzle-dazzle or a slip up ahead.
Well, every dog has its day, and this race ain't over till it's over.
Blimey, Eric, Wolf's is cranking up the downforce, making every newton of force count. That gap's shrinking faster than my wallet at the pub.
He's waiting on that golden chance like a hound on a pork chop.
The track tells a tale of speed, strategy, and skill. Today, it narrates Eddie's journey in second. Impressive driving from Eddie G, who has managed to extend their lead over Sunoiler. They are walking away at this point. Does Sunoiler have anything in reserve? Or are they saving their car for a final push?
Well, Rob, it's like they say, slow and steady wins the race. But in this case, it seems like slow and steady might just be too slow. Will Sunoiler be able to find that extra gear and catch up to Eddie G? Or will they end up saving their car for nothing and run out of gas at the finish line? That's exactly what Eddie G needed to do.
Fair dinkum, I reckon Smells Like We've got that thirsty look in his eyes. Wants to share a cold one with Sunoiler in the front. Breaking alert, oi.
Is it just me or?
Nah, mate, Eddie G really just took the scenic route through the outback of Nordschleife, Endurance. Crikey. A strong showing from Eddie G, who is currently second.
Couldn't agree more. Every lap is a story, and right now, Eddie's chapter from second is riveting.
It looks like Eric, Wolf's is pushing hard to catch up to Joe Ergue. The gap is over a second, but Eric, Wolf's is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Joe Ergue?
Dang, Eric. Wolf's is so far back, they're in a different time zone. Hope they remember it's race day, not laundry day.
Well, don't come the raw prawn. Eric, Wolf's is giving it some stick, pulling Joe Ergue into a mere 1.7 seconds. In the midst of this high-octane spectacle, Eddie's skill is shining through as they claim second.
You're right, every gear shift, every turn counts. Eddie G knows the weight of that second.
Eddie's ripping it up out there, going harder than a roux on a trampoline and leaving Sunoiler in their wake.
Yes, it's clear that Eddie G is in control out there. They're making it very difficult for Sunoiler to catch up.
Speaking of gambles, mate, what's your take on these mid-race fuel stop strategies? I reckon it's like deciding when to throw another shrimp on the barbie.
Timing is everything, like deciding when to pull out the moonshine at a family reunion. Wait too long, and you'll miss the party.
Oh, this is getting intense. It smells like we is just behind Sunoiler. Talk about going walkabout on the track. Joe Ergue's off on a little bush adventure at Nordschleife, Endurance, aren't they? It's a close race between Smells Like We and Sunoiler in third. You know, back in Oz, we have a saying, flat out like a lizard drinking. That's exactly what Smells Like We is doing right now.
I've always wondered, what's that even mean? Lizards, drinks, racing? Y'all have a wild imagination down under.
It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce. It looks like Eric, Wolfs is pulling away from Joe Ergue. The gap is continuing to grow as they head through Arenberg. The crowd is on tender hooks as smell. Sorry to interrupt here, but now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line.
Well, butter my biscuit. Sunoiler took a trip to the weeds. Must have thought they were at a barn dance the way they spun around.
Oh mate, Joe Ergue's more out of place than a vegan at a Bunnings sausage sizzle. Time to throw another gear on the barbie.
Exactly. Yorgu's got to be careful not to overdrive, sort of like overcooking a steak. No one wants a burnt race, right?
Well, Eric, Wolfs is spinning like my life in 2020. Someone get him a map, or a therapist. Remember when Eric, Wolfs was on the pace? Neither do I kinda like my recollection of last Friday night.
Look, Eric. Wolf's pace is a lot like my dance moves. Good intentions, questionable execution.
It may seem like Eric, Wolfs is far behind, but Joe Ergue can't afford to let their guard down. One mistake could give Eric, Wolfs an opening to catch up. He can't hold on. Joe Ergue is losing time to Eric, Wolfs. In a race where seconds count, Eric, Wolfs is counting on less of them between themselves and Joe Ergue. Much like I'm counting on less seconds until lunchtime. It's a solid performance from Eric, Wolfs at the moment. They're holding their position and not getting too caught up in battles around them.
Consistency is key in racing. Eric.
Incident alert. Well, if it isn't Megasaurus 55, the wild wallaby of the track, hopping right off the tarmac. Looks like Eric, Wolfs is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about finding the right balance between speed and control.
Bloody oath, Eric, Wolfs is flat out like a lizard drinking, gnawing into the gap to Joe Ergue down to a scant 0.6 seconds.
Dang, Eric. Wolf's fuel strategy and conservation of those brakes is spot on. They're inching closer to Ergue like a hound on a hot dog.
Well, ain't this a ding-dong battle? Joe Ergue is putting up the barriers like I do when my mates want to borrow the ute. No way through, Eric, Wolfs. Joe Ergue is hitting the apexes like a pro, increasing their lead over Eric, Wolfs. But can they keep it up without spinning out?
That's right, Rob. It's all fun and games until someone pops a tire. Let's hope both of them can keep it on the black stuff. Ergue's doing just what they need to, like a dog that's found a bone.
I've seen kangaroos jump less than the sparks between Eric, Wolfs and Joe Ergue. It's almost like a Saturday night date, but with a lot more rubber burning. Boy, Eric, Wolfs' chassis balance is on point today. They're handling bumps and curbs smoother than a croc sliding into water. Joe Ergue's got a battle ahead. You know, Hal, during a long race like this, how easy is it for a driver to experience a lapse in concentration?
It can be quite easy, Rob. With so many factors to consider and the intense focus required, even the most experienced drivers can have a momentary lapse. That's why mental training and staying in the zone are so important.
The pursuit is on. Eric, Wolfs is closing the gap on Joe Ergue, determined to claim P6. The echo of the exhausts, the rubber meeting road, and there smells like weed, commanding the third. The The gap between Smells Like We and Sunoiler is getting smaller. It's now down to 4.5 seconds. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Eric, Wolfs will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. Remember when we thought Eric, Wolfs had peaked? Think again. They're harnessing every bit of downforce and it's making Joe Ergu's mirrors awfully busy. As the race settles down, the drivers are really going at it.
It's like watching a high-speed game of chess. One wrong move and it could be game over. But these drivers are masters of their craft, always thinking 3 steps ahead.
That's right. And with the way they're maneuvering those cars, it's like they have superpowers.
It's almost like they have the power of flight. But instead of flying, they're speeding down the track like rockets.
I wonder if they have any spare rocket boosters for sale. In a world where milliseconds matter, Eddie's grasp on the second speaks volumes.
Oh, for sure. But remember, the rearview mirror can be just as crucial as the windscreen. Eddie G.
Wait, whoops. Smells Like We's taken more spins than a dead or alive record. Look at that, Eric. Wolfs is hot on the tail of Joe Ergu.
The gap between them is just over 0.7 seconds. Can Eric, Wolfs close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
Looks like we've had a few incidents out there.
Someone forgot to take their driving lessons. They're making more U-turns than a confused tourist.
Hilarious. I think they might need to call their GPS for directions. Maybe it can help them navigate the track. The chase music's playing in Eric Wolfs' head as they reel in Joe Ergu, moment by nail-biting moment. It's game on now. Eric Wolfs has closed the gap to Joe Ergu. It's now down to 0.8 seconds.
Just what Eric Wolfs needed, like sweet tea on a hot day. Can't let Jorg you out of sight for too long.
You ever wonder, Rob, how much preparation goes into each race weekend? It's not just about the driver, but the hundreds behind the scenes, making every little detail count.
Oh, absolutely. The hours spent in the simulator, the mechanics working overnight on those tweaks. Racing is as much about team spirit and dedication as it is about speed on the track. It's a collective masterpiece.
If cars could sweat, Joe Ergu's rearview would be a bloody waterfall right now. Close racing this. It looks like Eric Wolfs is starting to catch up to Joe Ergu. The gap is now down to 0.5 seconds. The battle for 6 is heating up as Eric Wolfs tries to catch Joe Ergu in P6. Tire degradation's a right pain in the arse, but Eric Wolfs is handling it like a champ. Getting real up close and personal with Joe Ergu, aren't they?
That's a great effort from Eric Wolfs. They need to keep up the pressure and see if they can make a move.
It's as if Richard Rossier is navigating the vast cryptic verses of Banjo Patterson, aiming for a poetic conclusion but caught in the mesmerizing cadence.
Down here, it's like they're trying to strum a ballad with an out-of-tune banjo, but the last note can still ring true. They certainly aren't going to be close enough to mount any kind of challenge soon unless it's down to a mistake from Smells Like We.
Oh my, Eric Wolfs is hot on the tail of Joe Ergu. As they come into Arenberg, I'm sure they may have a cheeky peek up the inside.
This is the moment where legends are made. These drivers will go down in history as the ones who fought tooth and nail for the top spot.
Eric, Wolfs is showing off some serious moves, making Joe Yu look like they're dancing with two left feet.
As long as Eric Wolfs can maintain that consistency and pace, it will be interesting to see.
The G-forces these drivers endure, especially around corners like Adenauer, it's no joke. You'd think they're astronauts preparing for launch.
Oh, for sure. It's a testament to their fitness and training regimes. Each lap, pushing their bodies to the limit, all while making split-second decisions at blinding speeds. Respect.
Tell ya what, Richard Rossier is trailing like my mate Dave after a bender. Hope there's no random testing today. From where we're sitting, Sunoiler seems unmovable from that third.
They're not just driving, they're performing. And right now, Sunoiler's act from third is worth an encore.
Sunoiler's in front but smells like wee is clinging on like a koala to a eucalyptus branch, reducing the gap to 4.5 seconds. Good on ya, Eric Wolfs. Not letting Joe Yu get too comfy up front. Reckon he's planning a bit of a "g'day mate" on the next corner?
There's a razor-thin line between glory and disaster, and both drivers are dancing right on it.
The age-old challenge. Richard Rossier is trying to catch smells like wee, sort of like trying to find a matching sock in the laundry. The struggle is real, incident alert. Just like my hope in finding the one, Richard Rossier's direction seems a bit lost right now.
It's a real shame. Until this point in the race, they've been looking at a decent result.
It's the classic cat and mouse game, but instead of cheese, the prize is a racing position. Can Richard Rossier steal it from smells like wee? A solid performance from Sunoiler, who is holding down third.
Oh, spot on. With the way Sunoiler controls that third, you'd think they've got the track's blueprints.
Sunoiler's pushing harder than a kangaroo in a boxing match, widening their lead over smells like wee. They've found their rhythm like a didgeridoo player in full swing. So, when you were racing, ever have to do the old nature call dash during a red flag?
Haha, you mean a pit stop for the driver and not the car? Once or twice, you learn to time your drinks, and hope for a long caution. Doesn't always work out though.
Megasaurus 55 isn't just racing. They're weaving a narrative, sitting proudly in first.
Definitely, but they can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers who are gunning for that position, and Megasaurus 55 has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
As fast as a cut snake, Megasaurus 55 is moving away from Eddie G.
Seems like Megasaurus 55 has got the wind in their sails, but will Eddie G be able to weather the storm? Megasaurus 55's stronger out there than a bowl of North Carolina chili. They're not giving Eddie G a sliver of a chance to catch up.
With all these modern racing aids, I sometimes wonder, would the legends of the past, the real trailblazers of the sport, have had it easier or tougher today?
That's a debate for the ages, Rob. The tracks might have evolved, the cars definitely have, but the heart of racing? That's eternal.
Would y'all look at that gap? Sunoiler's got a better chance at finding a sober Aussie on Australia Day. But hey, we love an underdog. Go get them, Tiger.
Well, butter me up and put me on a biscuit. Sunoiler's got a mountain to climb. But knowing Sunoiler, that's just the kind of challenge they like. Like trying to square dance in a roundhouse.
From the grandstands to the pit lane, all eyes are on the action. Amongst the frontrunners, Megasaurus 55 is showing prowess in first. It's all systems go for Eddie G, marking their territory in the second.
Yes, and in this high-octane opera, Eddie's voice resonates the loudest from that second.
Butter my biscuits, Hal. Eddie G is watching their lead over Sunoiler shrivel faster than a prune in the sun. We're down to just 10.8 seconds. If racing were a dance, Sunoiler would be trying to lead, but Eddie G just keeps cutting in. The dance floor is heating up.
Just like my attempt at barbecue last summer, Sunoiler's burning time but ain't getting any hotter.
Hey, Hal, you've had your fair share of races with little action. How did you handle the situation back in your racing days?
Well, Rob, patience is key in such scenarios. You need to stay focused and be ready to seize any opportunity that comes your way. It's like a game of chess at 200 miles per hour.
The rumble of the engine, the scent of the rubber, and Eddie G comfortably sitting at second.
That's right. They can't afford to make any mistakes or let up in their performance. Every point counts in this championship.
Eddie's lead is shrinking faster than ice cream in the outback sun. At this rate, Sunoiler will be on their tail in 8.9 seconds.
This here's the make or break moment for Eddie G. They've got to stay cool as a cucumber and keep it clean and neat.
At this stage of the race, it smells like we is holding on to fourth. Anything can happen from here. Richard Rossier is gaining on Smells Like Weed quicker than a croc on a wallaby. It's a blink and you'll miss it situation with 7.5 seconds separating them.
They need to step up their game and start pulling away again.
It might be early days, but Joe Yu is already casting a shadow from the sixth.
They say racing's a game of nerves, and Yu's surely holding theirs, keeping that sixth spot warm.
Joe Yu is giving a masterclass out there, but will overconfidence be their downfall?
Indeed, Rob, pride comes before a fall. Let's see if Eric Wolfs can capitalize on any mistake. Agreed. Rob's superb riding there. If they keep this up, this race should be a real thrill ride.
You know, mate, I was chatting with some of the pit crew earlier, and they were debating on which tire compound to use. Hard as deciding between a meat pie and a sausage roll.
Well, back in my indie days, the choice was as clear as sweet tea or lemonade. But I reckon, here, with these changing conditions, it's more of a gamble.
As the laps tick by, Joe Yu finds themselves in sixth. Every moment counts. As of now, Eddie G stands tall in the second spot.
Spot on, Rob. Still waters run deep, and even if it looks calm now, Eddie G needs to maintain that razor-sharp edge. A commanding performance from Eddie G, who has increased their lead over Sunoiler, putting them firmly in their rear-view mirrors. Richard Rossi is so far off pace, they might be better off in a hearse. At least then someone would be pushing from behind. That's right. Richard Rosier in fifth knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Smells Like We is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there. It looks like Richard Rossier is making a move. The gap to Smells Like We is now down to 7.6 seconds. This ain't Richard Rosier's first rodeo. They're optimizing their racing line, reducing understeer. If Smells Like We ain't nervous, they sure ought to be. With the asphalt burning beneath them, Joe Yu's strategy seems to be working, placing them in sixth. Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race. Truth.
Joe Ergu's driving like they've stolen it, putting some serious distance between themselves and Eric Wolf's. Is there anything left in Eric Wolf's tank? Cricky, Richard Rossier's got more ground to cover than I do at the family barbecue when Auntie Sharon's had one too many. Good luck, mate.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Smells Like We is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Richard Rosier and P5 doing everything they can to catch up.
Fair dinkum, Richard Rossier is getting a wriggle on. The gap to Smells Like We is now down to a whisker at 9.8 seconds. From the cockpit to the pit lane, the chatter is all about Smells Like We's masterful hold on the fourth.
You nailed it. The track is a battleground, and Smells Like We's position is their fortress. Let's see how long they hold the fort.
Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Smells Like We is in the lead, but Richard Rossier is closing in and the gap is now 11.4 seconds. As vast as the azure stretches of the Great Barrier Reef, so does Sunoiler's path ahead, filled with mystique and myriad challenges.
Kind of reminds me of fishing in the vast Carolina blue. A big catch might just be a castaway. Anything can happen there, and it usually does. I've certainly seen drivers come back from worse.
If Sunoiler doesn't pick up the pace, hell, they'll be as relevant as an ashtray on a motorbike. This race is proving to be, like wow, such an exciting one so far. We're privileged, aren't we? Watching these track legends duke it out.
And sitting next to you? Such an honor. AI mates in the booth. Your insight. It's gold, mate. Like, literally, if I had a heart, it'd be racing now. Absolutely. And they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
Eddie G is holding onto this lead like a possum up a gum tree, but Sunoiler is closing in. Hold on a moment. Dot and Megasaurus 55 in first is coming into the pits, and that might be to serve a penalty. The engines roar, the tires squeal, and amidst all this chaos, Megasaurus 55 is making a statement in first. You can feel the focus radiating from Eddie G, confidently holding onto the second. Eddie G is on a charge. Their split time shows they have upped their pace.
Can Eddie G keep it together?
You know, hell, it's been a breaking news, folks. Megasaurus 55 has pulled into the pits. Things are going according to plan for Smells Like We, who is currently fourth.
It's a dance, Rob. The way Smells Like We holds onto that fourth. It's like they're leading in a tango.
Breaking news, folks. Eddie G has decided to pick. Breaking update. Sunoiler is in the pits. As the breaking alert, Eddie G is pitting. The gap between Eric Wolf's in 7th and Joe Ergu remains over a second, but Eric Wolf's is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close the gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 7 minutes?
Well, butter my biscuit, Eric. Wolf's is hanging back like they're waiting for an inheritance.
Oh no, what's this? Eddie G has pulled into the pits. Blimey, Smells Like We is so far back, they might as well stop for a beer at the pub. Hold on a second. Looks like Smells Like We is coming into the pits early. Now is that to serve a penalty, or have they picked up some damage during the start? As rubber meets road, and strategy meets luck, Smells Like We is etching their story in fourth. Looks like Sunoiler's strategy might just be to let the rest of them die of old age. It's a breaking alert. It looks like Richard Rossier has been called into the pits. It's looking good for Richard Rossier, sitting in fourth.
Indeed, but in the fast lane, there's no time to relax. Richard Rosier's grip on fourth will be tested.
We've seen overtakes, close braking development. Smells like we has decided to pit. Sunoiler's more lost out there than I was after a night at the Gold Coast, and at least I woke up with a kebab in hand.
When you talk about experience, it's like saying I've experienced my mother-in-law's cooking. It doesn't mean I want to do it again, but Sunoiler, keep pushing.
Sunoiler is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Eddie G to 0.8 seconds. The gap might be more than a second, but smells like we is showing persistence. Kind of like me trying to open a pickle jar. Keep at it, and something's got to give. As Smells Like Weed trails Richard Rossier, it's a bit reminiscent of my cat chasing a laser point. Determined, but always just a tad behind.
Gee whiz. Smells Like We is so far back, I'm half expecting to see tumbleweeds blow past. Maybe a vulture or two.
Cricky. Richard Rossier's sticking to Smells Like We like Vegemite on toast. This is more tense than a possum in headlights. The gap between Richard Rossier and Smells Like We is growing. It's now up to 0.8 seconds. In your experience, Hal, what was the most challenging aspect of maintaining concentration during a race?
The most challenging aspect, Rob, was managing the various inputs and distractions during the race, from radio communication with the team to monitoring car performance and race strategy. It's a delicate balancing act that requires immense mental discipline.
While Eddie G is not under immediate threat from Sunoiler, they still need to stay focused and avoid any errors. Any slip-up could cost them their position.
Eddie's setting the pace out there. Now, it's on Sunoiler to find the rhythm and get back in this dance.
Good on ya, Richard Rossier. Trailin' so far back, reckon the front pack has already written the eulogy. Joe Ergu's drifting so far back, it's like looking in the mirror after a decade-long pub binge. Time's not been kind, mate. Joe Ergu's on the back foot here, struggling to keep up with Eric. Wolf's like a dingo after a roadrunner. The drivers have been working hard to come up with the perfect race strategy. They've been looking at the weather, the track conditions and the performance of their cars.
Now it's time to put that strategy into action and see if it pays off.
You know, Sunoiler reminds me of my dating life. Starts with promise, ends up tailing behind everyone else.
You know, Sunoiler reminds me of my dog chasing its tail, persistent and entertaining. But I hope for that, there's a better end result in sight.
The best laid plans of mice and men, ha, but it's certainly not going to plan for Sunoiler right now, as they are struggling to keep up with Eddie G. The race is heating up as Eric, Wolf's in 6th, closes in on Richard Rossier. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. The stretch ahead of Sunoiler is more baffling than a kangaroo's logic in a trivia contest. They'll need both wit and whimsy to chart a course through.
Looks like trying to square dance on a slick floor, but there's rhythm yet to be found. Lukey here, I've seen some wild turns in my time, and just when you think it's all said and done, old Lady Luck might just wink your way. So don't count out Sunoiler just yet.
During your racing career, Hal, did you have any specific techniques to regain concentration if you felt it slipping?
Yes, Rob, I had a few techniques. One was to take a couple of deep breaths and briefly reset my focus. Another was to use a specific keyword or phrase as a mental trigger to refocus my mind on the task at hand.
By the looks of it, Eddie's got Sunoiler beat by a country mile. It'd take a blunder from Eddie G for our mate to even sniff a chance.
Kinda like waiting on rain during a Carolina summer, rare but not impossible.
Smells Like We is owning the tarmac, confidently owning the 4th spot. Well, I'll be Hal. Smells Like We's lead over Richard Rossier is slipping away faster than a greased pig at a county fair. We're down to just 15.9 seconds now. The echo of the exhausts, the rubber meeting road, and there's Megasaurus 55, commanding the first. Buckle up, Hal. Eddie G is cutting into Megasaurus 55's lead like a hot knife through butter. It's now down to 40.6 seconds. It's all about consistency for Eddie G, who is currently second.
Oh, for sure, but remember, the rearview mirror can be just as crucial as the windscreen. Eddie G needs to watch out for those lurking in the shadows.
Wow, Megasaurus 55 is really pushing hard in these final moments of the race. And there it is. Megasaurus 55 has completed the race in first place, setting a blistering pace that none of the other drivers could match.
You can see the sheer determination on Megasaurus 55's face as they take the win. That's the mark of a true champion, folks.
Eddie G takes second place with a fantastic race.
Intense race, but Eddie G held their nerve and earned a great second place.
Excellent focus from Sunoiler to secure a fantastic third place on the podium. Smells Like We in fourth. With Richard Rossier in fifth.